Tell me, what is the most simple suffix that you can add to that? In. That's the most common one probably. Come in. What is the spelling rule when I want to add ing to this word, Emily?
When ing comes, e goes away when ing comes to
Good
stay.
girl. The e goes away when an ing comes to stay. So we've got the word come. Take the e away, Sean. Good boy, good concentrating. Add the ing. Coming. Excellent. What's another suffix that we can add to that one?
Just once again,
Yeah, go on.
what would the sound be if the e was still there when the ing came along?
Well, if you left the e there and then you added the suffix ing on, that what does that? It's so
Combing.
yeah, it's really weird because lots of people would think that that said combing. They would think that it was your magic e changing the ot to an o sound, and they would think it said combing. Now, if you want to say combing when you are combing your hair, it's actually a totally different spelling. Believe it or not, when you comb your hair, it's C-O-M-B, and you can just add the ing straight onto it. That word says combing, like combing your hair. Excuse me, you know how I feel about the English language. Is this a really weird word? Yeah, and so is this one actually. Okay, so Portia, that's what would happen if you did. It would be, yeah, it looks like cumbing or combing really, but I can't explain why. I don't know. All right, coming. Who can give me another suffix for this word, Sean? Good. You're adding on an? Yes, good. I'll put a comma there because I'm making a list. So you can say, if he comes near me with that spider again, I'm going to scream loudly. So you can add the suffix s onto the end, comes. One of the other most common suffixes that we have, we've got the s and the in. What's the other most common one? Good boy, ed. I'm going to write something on here. Don't want you to say anything because you're the only boy who got it right. I don't want you to say anything, Digi. I want you to just sit on it for a minute and I'm going to ask you, hands down, I saw this written by nearly every single person, pretty much except for Dig. Have a look at this word. Somebody tell me what that actually says.
It's meant to be combed.
It's meant to be cummed. Good.
It says but
Listen
it's
to this.
came.
Aha. I cummed to school today. I cummed to school today. Is there any such word in the English language? No. Who can tell me, without calling it out, because people have been calling out for the last few minutes, what is the word supposed to be, Judd? Came. It actually changes tenses, all right, to come. All right, it's the present. But when you have done something, when you have actually completed an activity, when you've actually done it, you say, I came to school today. It's just one of those really weird words that changes. So Portia, the number of people who said cummed, there is no such word in the English language. Now what that tells me is that when you were writing your answers down, you were writing it down, but you didn't check by putting it into a sentence to see if it made sense. Because the number of people, as soon as I wrote that on the board, the number of people who said that's wrong, it's supposed to be came. Well, how come if you can talk the talk, you didn't walk the walk? Talking the talk, Mrs. Carter's people, that means you're talking about it, you know the answer, but if you're not walking the walk, it means you're not showing me. So I reckon half the class said that's wrong. There's no such word as cummed, you have to say came, and yet most people wrote the word down. So when you're doing this suffix work, I would add on the ending, then I would put it in a sentence to see if you can use it correctly in a sentence to make sure you have the right answer, Charlotte. So, I am coming to school. Yes, that makes sense. Good. If he comes near me with that spider, I'm going to scream. Yes, that makes sense. I comed to my friend's house. No, so don't write it down. I came to school today. Yeah, so you've got to think about it. So for that one, it wasn't actually adding a suffix. You actually had to change the whole word. If you wanted to use that word, you had to change the whole spelling. All right? That was really important. There was another one. Believe it or not, there were two of them that I tried to trick you with, and I did a good job of tricking you. Put your hand up. There you are. Put your hand up if you can tell me what this word says, please. What's that word say, Sean? Grow. Who can tell me a suffix that you can add to that really easily, Annalise? S, good. When I look at my garden, it grows really well in the winter, not so well in the summer. Grows. Good girl. What's another one, Ryan?
But you have to change it to group.
Thank you. You know what the common mistake, I'm going to leave that for a minute. Can you tell me another one that's correct? Tell me another suffix that you can add that's correct. Emily? Growing, good. We don't have to change anything. We've got a long O sound. We can just add the ing onto it. There is another one that's a little less common, a different suffix, and I'm not talking about the ed at the moment. Can anybody think if a person is a person who grows vegetables, we call them a vegetable grower. So you can actually add for that one, you can add an ER suffix onto it. All right, you've got to check that you can make it into a sentence that makes sense. A person who grows vegetables is a vegetable grower. Unusual, but it's there. Now this one, as Ryan was saying, the number of people who wrote this word. What does that word say? Grow. Someone put it into a sentence for me. Someone put that word there into a sentence for me. Emily?
I growed a bunch of vegetables.
I growed a bunch of vegetables. Listen to it again. I growed a bunch of vegetables. What are your ears telling your brain?
It isn't correct.
It's incorrect. It doesn't sound right. Brian, what has to happen to this word if you want to make it into something that has happened in the past tense? You have to say, it grew, or I grew a bunch of vegetables. So again, you're changing the whole spelling. Just like the word came, it's in the past tense. He came to my house, which means he's already done it. I grew some vegetables, which means you've already done it. These two words are in the past tense. You cannot just add on the ed. So guys, when you're doing your worksheets today, can you think carefully, especially when you're doing the suffix activity, and make sure that the word you write down makes sense? Two things to come out of the worksheets, two important things to remember. Right now though, let's just check who's doing what today. Can you please tell me if I've made a mistake on this, because when I was writing